Hello, this is Dr. Rachel Koch. I'm one of the staff psychologists at CAPS, and I'll be going through our Managing Stress Well-Being seminar today in this video. So I'm going to be referring to some handouts, which you can download from our website. If you go to caps.richmond.edu and then click on our services page, you'll see the handouts on the left-hand side. So our well-being seminars that we offer, we have this one, Managing Stress, Calming Emotions, Improving Relationships, and then we've just added our self-care seminar as well. And why we created these is because these are some of the top concerns that CAPS clients have reported over the years, and we wanted to provide quick access to skill building, as well as some proactive steps you can take towards your well-being. Now, obviously, CAPS has a number of resources available to you, so please visit our website at caps.richmond.edu for the most up-to-date resources as well as crisis resources if needed. But today we're going to be talking about distress tolerance. So you will learn new ways to manage difficult feelings and experiences and learn to tolerate pain without making things worse. So we know that pain is inevitable, and distress tolerance skills are used when it's difficult or impossible to change a situation. They help us to cope in a crisis or help us to tolerate short-term or long-term pain, which can be physical and or emotional. So it's important to note that these skills are not to make you feel good necessarily. They're to get you through the moment without feeling worse. Mindfulness is an important component that is woven through all of our seminars because research and our experience shows that it's a powerful tool and practice. And today we're going to talk about our wise mind. So here's a video if you would like to learn more about or watch this in process that you can pause this video and copy and paste this link into your browser to watch. But I'm gonna talk about the wise mind a little further next. So feel free to pause here and copy and paste this if you would like to watch this. But right now, I'm going to launch into talking about our wise mind. So we have three different states of mind. We have our reasonable mind, our wise mind, and our emotion mind. Reasonable mind. This is our rational thinking, logical mind. It's that part of you that plans and evaluates things logically. It's easier to use your reasonable mind when you feel good and much more difficult when you don't. So the reasonable mind can be very beneficial. It helps us to follow instructions and be successful in academics. So I'm going to provide an example that I'll carry through all the states of mind. So in order to pass this class, I must give a 30-minute presentation as this is part of my grade. So that's something the reasonable mind might say. This is based on what I know from my syllabus, and it's a matter of fact. Whereas your emotion mind, so we're using this mind when our emotions are in control and they influence our thinking and our behavior. So again, the emotion mind can be very beneficial. Love motivates relationships, devotion and desire motivate staying with hard tasks, but it can also cause some problems when the results are positive in the short term but negative in the long term, or when the experience is painful or leads to other painful states and events such as anxiety or depression. So again, sticking with that same example of the presentation, I hate presentations and I'm too anxious to give it, so I will just be absent on the day of my presentation. So if our emotion mind took over in the short term here, we might feel some relief. But in the long term, we're going to feel even more anxiety. We might have a failing grade and a lot of unpleasant emotional experiences, regret, embarrassment, and negative self-judgment. So this is a good time when we might want to integrate and use our wise mind. So we're not always in our wise mind. This is a skill that we must learn and apply mindfulness to use. So I definitely encourage you to check out our calming emotions and our improving relationships videos, because this gives you your how to incorporate mindfulness, but also what to incorporate with it. So it gives you some of those how and what skills. But so here's the example, sticking again with the presentation of maybe what the wise mind would say. I know I feel very anxious about this presentation, but I am also not okay with failure. Everyone else in the class also is given the presentation, so I'm not alone, and I will experience anxiety for a limited amount of time, but it will likely pass once the presentation is over, and at least I can be sure I completed the assignment. So that's a way that we can think about how the wise mind might approach the situation, taking in both the reasonable mind and our emotional mind. And so what I want you to do just for a moment is think about situations where you feel your emotion mind might have taken over and what the consequences of that were. How did the situation go? Or maybe too, when reasonable mind took over and what happened. and try and think about a time when maybe it didn't go so well. How could you have used your wise mind in that situation, just to get into the practice of applying your wise mind? So feel free to pause the video and think about that for a moment. Next, we're going to move on to some specific skills. So the one handout that is on the website includes the Wise Mind Accepts. Accepts being a mnemonic device, which stands for activities, contributing, comparisons, emotions or opposite emotions, pushing away thoughts and sensations. So this really is about distraction, healthy distraction. So these are not long-term solutions by any means, but healthy distraction is beneficial in the moment until the distress about the situation passes. However, long-term distraction, aka avoidance, can have problematic effects. So for instance, if you fix everything in your home with a hammer, you'll have a lot of holes and busted pipes. But hammers do work sometimes when you have a nail that needs to be hammered. So when we're experiencing distress that we need to pass in order to more accurately evaluate a situation and make a plan, this is when we want to engage our accepts skills. So if you are looking at the handout, and even if not, I'll go through a few examples. So with activities, maybe it's going for a walk, watching TV for a little bit, or playing a game. I think it's important to note here that there's a difference between I'm going to watch a 30-minute TV show and binging an entire series. So again, in the short term in moderation. Contributing, finding volunteer work, helping somebody out, giving away things you don't need. Comparisons, compare how you're feeling now to a time when you felt different. Of like, okay, I wasn't as stressed yesterday, but there's been moments in the past where I have felt stressed before and I've gotten through them. So it's trying to, again, put things into perspective. With different emotions, if you're feeling angry, watch something that's going to make you laugh. If you're feeling sad, maybe reflect on an experience or look at pictures of happier times. Push away the thoughts. This is where, again, short-term compartmentalization can be really helpful. I can't think about this right now because I really need to focus on class. I'm going to put this aside and I will come back to it later. So it's actually trying to push that aside and leave it for a while. And then using our thoughts to our advantage. If our mind is racing, maybe try repeating words to a song, reading a book, looking around the room and counting the number of blue items that you find, things that can help to, again, distract. And then using sensations, squeezing a stress ball, listening to really loud music, splashing cold water on your face, anything that can help to kind of distract from what you might be thinking about. And so our tip skills talk a little bit about some of the things we have, but this is, again, a way to reduce extreme emotion mind fast. So if emotions are really running rampant, and you really need to just settle in the moment, tip skills are what you're going to want to use. So the first one, tip the temperature of your face with cold water. Splash some nice icy cold water on your face. Take an ice pack, put it on your face or on your chest. Your body warms up when you're feeling stressed or anxious. So try and help to bring your body temperature down. Intense exercise, similarly, adrenaline might be running through you. If you're feeling particularly stressed, go for a brisk walk or a run if you're a runner. Paced breathing. Paced breathing is just taking some really big, deep, long breaths. So let's practice this together right now. So what I want you to do is we're going to inhale to the count of 4, hold for the count of 7, and then exhale to the count of 8. So we'll do that together. So inhale, hold, and exhale. Feel free to pause here and practice that a few more times just to really get into the hang of that. And then paired muscle relaxation. So again, we'll quickly practice this together. So what I want you to do is when you take a deep inhale, try and tense all of the muscle groups in your body. So your arms, your legs, and just feel all of the tension build. So inhale and tense. And then as you exhale, say to yourself, relax, and exhale all the tension out. Maybe allowing your arms to hang, slouching in your chair, and just feeling the muscle tension kind of leave your body. And again, feel free to pause this video and practice that a bit more. And then our last skill is improve the moment. So this is where if we do want to feel just like a little bit better in this moment, like I'm having a really hard time, I really just need to focus on something that can make me to feel better. This is where we want to use improve. And again, improve is another mnemonic device, stands for imagery. So maybe just imagining a safe space, imagining yourself at the beach or at the mountains, with meaning. This can be hard at first, but trying to find purpose or meaning in a painful situation. What are the positive aspects that might come up from this situation? With prayer, and again, if you're religious, praying to a supreme being or a God. If you're not as religious, but just spiritual in some way, just maybe even opening your heart to your wise mind, asking for strength to bear this pain. With relaxing actions, taking a hot bath, drinking a hot beverage, just breathing deeply. Focusing your attention on one thing in the moment. So really just keeping yourself in the moment, practicing mindfulness, focus your entire attention on what you're doing. So say you just go for a walk. So again, you're using your activities and you're trying to focus on one thing. I'm going to focus on what it feels like with my feet hitting the pavement, or the sounds I hear around me, the colors of the trees. Take a brief vacation. If you need to, get in your bed, put those covers over your head for a moment, and just pretend that the world around you doesn't exist. Or if you can, get outside, go be in nature for a little bit. Take a breather. Just change of scenery could really help. And then lastly, with self-encouragement and rethinking the situation. So this too shall pass. I'll be okay. This won't last forever. And be your own cheerleader. Like, I'll get through this. I'll make it through this. And I'm doing the best that I can. One example I like to share comes from Harry Potter. So this image is from the Harry Potter movies, where Neville Longbottom, a student at Hogwarts, is particularly fearful of Professor Snape. And so the activity here is to try and conjure up something that would make him laugh. And so what he does is he imagines Professor Snape in his grandmother's clothes. And so it changes how he initially felt really fearful into something that he can laugh about. It's a bit more lighthearted. So it's really just trying to imagine things in a different light, to approach the situation differently, and then to reduce our vulnerability to our emotion mind. When our emotion mind is a bit calmer, we can come back and really look at a situation and accurately plan how we're going to handle it. So in summary, distress tolerance skills, as I said, they're not necessarily to fix the situation or make the situation go away, but it is to manage and feel better in the moment. If we can feel better in the moment, we can use our rational mind, use our wise mind, and think about the best way to tackle the stress that we might be experiencing. And it helps us to stay present rather than run from stressful situations. So if we run away from stressful situations, all that happens is that stress gets bigger. So again, thinking of the short-term relief we might feel, but the long-term increase in stress. Or again, remembering your wise mind, integrate the emotion and rational mind, remembering to the accept skills and improve the moment, and then our tip skills. So again, I know that's a lot of different letters and a lot of skills, but the worksheets go over this more in depth. So definitely encourage you to read through those worksheets and think about what skills you really think you could apply. So even thinking about that, maybe pausing this video, looking at those worksheets, what are 2 skills you think, you know what, I could do that today. I think that could be really helpful and I will commit to that. Because lastly, it's important to challenge yourself. So challenge yourself to use one of these new skills every day this week. Practice is necessary for these skills to be effective. So start now. And it's even more effective if you are practicing and using these skills when you don't feel particularly stressed, because then when you do feel stressed, you'll know these are things that will work for you. So definitely encourage you, practice that paced breathing, do some imagery exercises, have your list of activities that you do that are helpful when you're feeling stressed, in order to kind of create this plan so that when stress comes up, you'll know how to effectively handle it. Please feel free to reach out to CAPS if you have any questions, caps@richmond.edu. You can email us, but thank you so much for listening to this seminar today. Take care and be well.